Hi, it's TJ and Wendy Zito of Rhythm and Motion Dance here in Birmingham, Alabama, home of the Vulcan Performers Professional Dance Organization, www.bhamdance.com. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Sorry we've been missing for a couple of weeks. We've been a little sick, but we're back with Move of the Week, and by request, we're going to do a couple little technical series here. Some people like these spins and turns, so we're going to branch off and do some other things. So what we're going to talk about today is rock steps. Use rock steps in a lot of the dances we do, whether it's rhythm dancing, West Coast swing. You know, we're going to always use some sort of rock steps. So what we're going to do is talk about what you should do's, what should not do's, where this applies, what dances, how they're going to differ a little bit. So one thing I first want to talk about is should not do, would not do, all those do's. What you and everyone should not do. So what we're going to do is talk a little bit about some things about what are some good habits and what are some bad habits. So the first thing I always talk about with rock steps is being aware where your body is and where it is not. So one of the things that you should always be aware of where it is, it should always be in a line. We should never be in a position where the booty is sticking out, right? You want to suck the booty in. But at the same time, and we were just talking about this with a friend of ours last night, you don't want to overhold yourself, right? So a lot of times when we talk about people holding themselves up, we get like an over-composure, if you will. You get this rigid kind of Frankenstein kind of thing. We can't move from there. And we want to just think about composing versus the old school pulling up. Because when we pull up, we tend to shoulders, you know. You get one of two things. Either guys getting their shoulders up or you get the Tommy Boy. Have you seen the weight room? Right? So we don't need guys doing that. You just want to think of belly button to spine and think of composing. One of my favorite quotes from one of my coaches that used to say all the time, and Wendy laughs because she says this is a little out of date, but I still love it, is when you're dancing, you got to be King Kong from the waist down, you got to be Fay Ray from the waist up. What does that mean? Is you're going to be heavy from the waist down, you're going to be into the floor, but you got to look pretty while you're doing it, you know? So what you want to think about is the top half being composed and looking good, but we're going to be heavy and getting down into the floor from the waist down. Wendy says I should really kind of update that. It should be Naomi Watts. Is that the new? Yeah, so it's King Kong and Naomi Watts rather than Fay Ray, but for your old, you know, the people my age and above out there that know who we're talking about.
Okay, back on topic.
So, talking a little bit about this, as long as we're composing the body and we're not breaking the position of our body, right, we're not overholding, you know, we're going to look at just the rock step critically. What we're not going to do is what I like to call the YMCA rock step. We all went to our community center sometime in our life or our church or in 5th grade and we learned hold, rock step, right? So we don't want those old school YMCA rock steps. So we don't want a position where the back of the head, Wendy's going to stand right here and do this with me. We don't want a position where the back of the head falls over the back of the foot. So we never want to be in a position where we're falling and rocking our body backwards and forward. So what we're actually going to do is when we're moving the foot backwards, our body weight is going to stay somewhat forward. So we're kind of sneaking the foot back just a bit into the ball of the foot right here. So kind of where the toes are starting and hitting to the beginning of the ball of the foot. And we're going to transfer the weight, allow it to settle into the hip, and then we're going to settle back forward. So we're not literally rocking, right? So we're not doing, I'm going to get Wendy to demonstrate this. A lot of my jazz girls, here she's going to turn this way. So a lot of times you get girls that have taken a jazz background and they want to rock it back, right? Or they want to give us the Fosse kind of thing, right? So we're not looking for Fosse here. We're looking for a little bit more Latin motion with it. So as we're going into it, yeah, we're thinking of examples in your head. She's smiling, laughing at that right now.
No,
so,
I'm only laughing because you're making fun of me.
Okay, so what we want to think about doing is rolling into the rock step. I'm going to use my hand to talk about the floor right here. All right, if this is my toes, I like to think about my toe and then the ball of my foot massaging into the floor. So I think about it massaging into the floor. So I'm not hitting a flat. I'm hitting ball flat. It's rolling, ball flat. So yeah, I'm going to borrow a foot here. So if I'm borrowing a foot, I am not hitting a flat. So give me a flat. I'm not hitting a flat, right? I'm massaging the floor, toes, ball, heel. So I'm massaging the floor with my foot. So what Wendy likes to talk about a lot of times is bubble wrap. If you think about bubble wrap, right, and it's on the floor and you want to pop, pop, pop. That bubble wrap, you don't want to pop, right? So it's popping all the individual bubble wrap. I've heard some people refer to it as walking through mud and massaging through the mud or walking through the sand, shaking through the sand. Any of those analogies that will work for you, those are fine.
I like Play-Doh.
Wendy likes Play-Doh
or... it squishes. Sorry, I used to teach little kids, but if you think about if you mash something down into Play-Doh and you think about how it squishes, if you were going to put your foot in the Play-Doh, you want the excess to squish out behind your foot. So you want to roll all the way through.
Or if you think about getting custom orthotics that we are now actually dealing with, that you can get more information on our website, BHAMDance.com, same way with the custom orthotics, is how you make the mold.
Shameless
Plug. All right, so with that being said, on the rock steps, so we're not hitting flat, we're going ball flat and rolling through. So what we're going to get with that is we're going to get a hip action of roll through, roll through. So, you know, with this, there's varied degrees of turnout, depending on what dance you're doing and what style you want. You know, can you open the hip? You can open the hip as long as you open the body with it. You know, if we are doing something where we want that style with the body open, that is acceptable, but that's not an every time thing. So girls that may have come from the ballet background, you got to really watch the turnout, because we use that for certain emphasis in music and certain leads. A lot of times I may use turnout to emphasize that we're going to do some sort of prep lead. So we use that.
Generally, if you turn out, he thinks you're getting ready to turn.
To do something. So so it's not an every time thing. You know, so make sure you're able to do the vanilla, right? Just the plain vanilla that we're rolling and rocking through. And we're allowing the knees to go from bent to straight. So we're creating an action in there. And we talk about on some of our other moves of the week, we talk about the towel twisting, right? If you're wringing out water of a towel, you got one side going back, one side going forward. So what we're getting is the hip action and the rib cage action that's happening in here. So we're getting an action that's happening and it's showing a lot of rhythm compared to flat, 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 flat. So making sure that our rock steps are rolling through and showing rhythm. And also if you watch you know, what's happening with our constant here, what's happening with our connection, we're also not getting the lean in, stretch away. We're not getting the push and the pull, the jerk, the sling, if you will. So we're not getting that. We're getting
I'm going to shamelessly plug now. For more on that, check our other move of the week.
Yes, check the other move of the week on connection and constant. So that would definitely want to check that out. So so with that, that's improving your connection, it's improving your rhythm, it's improving your dancing. You're going to use rock steps, whether it's East Coast swing, West Coast swing, you know, different rhythm dances, different things you're doing. They're in different places. You know, just maintain the style of whatever dance you're doing. Make sure it's appropriate. But that's the idea, is making sure we're getting the ball flat, making sure we're getting the rolling action and showing the good rhythm there. So I hope that helps you out a little bit with some rock steps. Once again, it's TJ and Wendy Zito, Rhythm and Motion Dance here in Birmingham, Alabama, home of the Vulcan Performers, professional dance organization, www.bhamdance.com.
Bye.